Welcome to Sacred Stories. Today, we will uncover the fascinating story of Daniel and the lion's den. Get ready for a journey of faith, courage, and miracles. Long ago, there was a man named Daniel who lived in ancient Babylon. Daniel was known for his wisdom and faithfulness to God, which is why he was chosen by King Darius to be one of 3 governors who oversaw the vast empire. Daniel did his job so well that the king thought about putting him at the head of the entire kingdom. However, this idea did not please the other 2 governors and some princes who were jealous of Daniel. They decided to find a way to get rid of him, but they couldn't find any fault with their work. Then, they realized that the only way to harm Daniel was through his faith in God. These cunning men went to King Darius and said, "O king, all the governors, prefects, and counselors agreed that you should make a decree. For 30 days, no one will be able to say a prayer to any god or man except you, O king, and whoever disobeys will be thrown into the lion's den." The king, flattered by the proposal, signed the decree. Daniel, upon learning of the decree, did not change his habits. He continued to pray 3 times a day, as he always had. He would go to his room, open the windows that faced Jerusalem, and kneel down to pray and give thanks to his God. Daniel's enemies became alert, and as soon as they saw him praying, they ran to report it to the king. "O king, Daniel disobeyed your order and continues to pray 3 times a day to his God." The king, upon hearing this, was very sad, as he liked Daniel and did not want anything bad to happen to him. But the laws of the Medes and Persians could not be changed, not even by the king. "Free him." The pit was closed with a large stone, and the king sealed it with his ring, so that no one could change the sentence. That night, the king couldn't sleep. He was worried about Daniel and refused to eat or distract himself with music. At dawn, the king got up and ran to the lion's den. With a trembling voice, he called out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, could your God, whom you continually serve, deliver you from the lions?" And, to the king's surprise and relief, Daniel's voice was heard. "O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and closed the lions' mouths. They did me no harm, because I was found innocent before God and before you, O king." The king was elated and ordered Daniel to be taken out of the pit. And so it was done. There was not a scratch on Daniel, for he trusted in God. Then the king ordered that the men who accused Daniel be thrown into the lion's den, along with their families. And before they even reached the bottom of the pit, the lions attacked them and tore them to pieces. King Darius, impressed by the power of Daniel's God, wrote a new proclamation for the entire kingdom: "Peace and prosperity to all. I decree that in every part of my kingdom people must fear and revere the God of Daniel, for he is the living and eternal God. His kingdom will not be destroyed, and his dominion will never end. He delivers and saves, performs signs and wonders in heaven and on earth." He delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. After the dramatic events in the lion's den, Daniel continued to serve under King Darius with even greater respect and admiration from the people and nobles. Daniel's unshakable faith and clear demonstration of the power of his God, they made many reconsider their own beliefs, seeing him as an example to be followed. Imagine Daniel, a man of wisdom and integrity, walking through the streets of Babylon, being greeted by everyone. He took advantage of his renewed influence to continue doing good and advising the king with justice and equity. He knew that his survival in the lion's den was not just an isolated miracle, but a divine opportunity to continue influencing the nation in a positive way. The lessons from this event were profound. People began to understand that true faith does not bend in the face of difficulties, and that integrity and honesty are rewarded. Daniel became a living symbol of faith and resistance, inspiring future generations to trust God even in the most desperate situations. Daniel also took advantage of his time to teach the young men of the court about his faith and the principles that guided his life. He was known for his kindness and patience, always willing to listen and helped those who sought guidance. He told stories about his ancestors, how God had guided the people of Israel, and taught the importance of keeping faith alive in their hearts. The story of Daniel in the lion's den spread beyond the borders of Babylon, reaching other lands and peoples. It became a legend told and retold, always with the same powerful message of faith, courage, and divine justice. Many, upon hearing about Daniel, found strength in their own difficulties, believing that just as God delivered Daniel, he could also save them from their trials. Even after Darius' death, Daniel continued to serve under subsequent kings, always maintaining his devotion to God and his integrity. He lived a long and full life, always recognized as a man of unshakable faith and unparalleled wisdom. And so, the story of Daniel and the lion's den is an eternal reminder that when we maintain our faith and our values, no matter how dark the night or how dangerous the challenges, after the dramatic night in the lion's den, Daniel became a living legend. Wherever he went, people greeted him with respect and admiration. Young and old came from all over to hear his words and learn from his wisdom. Daniel was a man of routine, disciplined, and continued to pray 3 times a day, thanking God for his protection and guidance. One day, while walking through the palace gardens, a young boy named Aram approached. Aram was an apprentice at court and heard many stories about Daniel. With eyes shining with curiosity, he asked Sir Daniel, "What was it like spending that night in the lion's den? Weren't you afraid?" Daniel smiled gently and replied, "Aram, fear is natural, but faith is stronger. When I was thrown into the pit, I didn't know what would happen, but I trusted in God. I felt his presence with me, like an invisible friend at my side. The lions, who were supposed to be my enemies, became peaceful because God closed their mouths." Aram was amazed at Daniel's serenity and continued to ask questions. Over time, Daniel shared many stories from his life, teaching the young man about the importance of faith, honesty, and perseverance. Meanwhile, Daniel's influence at court grew. He was consulted on important decisions, and his words were always full of wisdom and discernment. King Darius, who already had great appreciation for Daniel, began to trust him even more. Their relationship was one of mutual respect and friendship. One day, a great crisis arose in the kingdom. There was a devastating famine in one of the empire's provinces. People were desperate, not knowing what to do. King Darius called an emergency meeting with his advisors and, naturally, Daniel was present. After hearing the grim reports, Daniel stood up and proposed a bold plan. "We must use the palace's resources to feed the hungry. Furthermore, we need to teach people how to cultivate the land better and store food for hard times. We will organize aid teams to bring seeds and tools to affected provinces." King Darius immediately agreed to Daniel's proposal, and so it was done. Thanks to Daniel's leadership and vision, the famine was overcome, and the provinces once again prospered. Once again, Daniel had demonstrated his ability to transform challenges into opportunities, always guided by his faith and his commitment to people's well-being. The stories of Daniel and his accomplishments continued to spread, reaching distant lands. In every corner of the empire, he was celebrated as a hero of faith and wisdom. People of all ages came to him for advice and inspiration. Even in his old age, Daniel did not slow down. He continued to serve with dedication, always remembering that his role was to be a light to others. He knew that each day was an opportunity to do good and show God's love through his actions. When Daniel finally passed from this life to the next, his legacy endured. His stories were passed down from generation to generation, and he was remembered not just as a man who survived a den of lions, but as a symbol of unwavering faith, practical wisdom, and moral integrity. And so, Daniel's story teaches us that regardless of the adversities we face, but as a symbol of unshakable faith, practical wisdom, and moral integrity. If you liked our video, subscribe to the channel Leave a like and activate the bell